All right, we are good. So another cool guest, and also another guest who is part of the Tropical Authors Group, along with me and several previous guests. So welcome in. So how'd you get involved with the Tropical Authors?
Um, Wayne Stennett
That's
and
usually the
Pat Daniels, they both suggested that I join.
very cool. So explain to the viewers what your books are about.
Okay, my books are mysteries, thrillers, and I have two series going. One is the Hilda Mae series, where it's a female landscaper in Navarre Beach, Florida, and she finds herself in all kinds of trouble. She's runs across situations and never knows where she's going to land up, and is always in danger. Seems like there's three books currently in the series. The fourth one should be out before the end of the year. And the first one, they do tend to deal with topics like the first one's called Missing on the Gulf Coast, and it's about human trafficking. The second one is called Escape on the Gulf Coast, and it's about abuse. And the third one is called Hooked on the Gulf Coast, and it's about fentanyl trafficking. And the fourth one is called Sold on the Gulf Coast, and it's about like someone's home being stolen from them and vendetta that's going on. And then the other series I have is the Jase Thompson series. It's a group of paramilitary guys that are working for um, I guess, a secret organization for the government, and they defend the Gulf Coast. So the first one's called Defending the Gulf Coast, and that it's like six guys that work together as a team, and they the first book they take down a human trafficking ring. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, a drug ring. And they go on ventures. They go diving and all kinds of things.
All kinds of fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
So when you first start these first books of those series, do you look at and you do immediately go, I'm going to write a series, or do you think I'm just going to write a book and see where it goes?
Well, the first one was just the book, see how I do. Um, I did that at the encouragement of Cap Daniels. I told him I'd always wanted to write, and he said, then do it. So I sat down, and Hilda Mae was born. And then it was like, okay, well, I think I've got another one in me. And now I think right now I've got six outlined, like ideas for six for Hilda Mae. There probably will be more. And I've got three more for the Jase Thompson series.
Okay. So at this point, there's no real end in sight. It's just as long as you
I
have
hope
ideas,
not.
you're going to keep going.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and my husband will hear me cackling in the office, and he'll say, stick his head in, and he said, "What have they done today?"
That's fun. Yeah, Cap is one of the good ones. I got to hang out with him at Nink last year, and I hang out with Wayne every year,
Yeah,
and it's they're very encouraging for what we
they
have
are.
as a group.
They're very pay it forward people. Everyone I've met with tropical authors has just been an amazing um, encourager. Cap is big, and so is Dan. Nick Harvey. I had different covers to start with, and on my first three books, and Nick asked me if he could call me, and he did, and he said, I think you need to change your covers. And I said, well, I don't love them and I want to. And he said, well, let me let you. He gave me someone to talk to. And I wound up Dave Behrens that does my covers now, and he does a phenomenal job.
Yep.
And I really do like them a lot better. They were just a little bit too feminine looking for me. I tried a different group and it just wasn't working. So I'm very pleased with them now.
Yeah, I saw they're great covers, and Dave does a great job. I got to hang out with him at Nink as well last week, and I mean everybody's just supportive and so encouraging,
They
especially to
are. They
new
are.
authors coming in.
Yeah, and I like I was telling Dan, I said, um, Captain Daniels, I said, hey, I'm just an old math and physics nerd. I am not an English major whatsoever. And he said, I'm a pantser. He said, I believe you can do this. And, you know, like I said, next thing Hilda Mae was born. And then I got to talking to Wayne Stennett. And he's just been, any question I've got, either one of them, just boom, there's a long list of, you know, here's what you can do to make it better. And this will help you get in the right direction, that kind of thing. But everybody's been that way. You know, Doug Pratt, Nick, all of them have just been phenomenal. I haven't met any of them in person yet. I hope to remedy that one day. Actually, Captain Daniels doesn't live very far from me, maybe about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And Kirk Jockle, I used to go to Port St. Joe area all the time. So I figure I'll pop over there one day and meet him and his wife.
Yeah, they seem like they're there all the time now. So that'll be I'm sure you can. I'm sure if you go to any bar that they have a singer there, because the times that I hung out with them, they're always in a bar somewhere with somebody on stage strumming a guitar. So
there's several interesting places down there that, like, one's open air that you can sit in and I guess people drink and all that, but just sit and listen to the music. So that would be right up their alley, I think.
Yeah. I've gone to, me and my wife have gone to Apalachicola a few times, and I love it there. I was friends with Dawn Lee McKenna. I got to meet her once or twice, which was great before she passed away. So that area is pretty cool for people coming. Mac Fortner, that's the first time I met him, was down there. Him and his wife, and now he's in Florida, not too far from me, which is nice as well.
It's beautiful down there. Of course, I'm partial to my area too. I mean, I'm from Navarre and Pensacola area, so it's the water's amazing, and you know, it's a good place to live.
Yeah, I'm not far from. I'm in Jacksonville, so
okay.
We're right down I-10 from each other. So, what are some of the things since you started putting these books out? What are some of the things that surprise you as a writer that you really weren't expecting?
About my writing, you mean?
About the writing, about the business, about any of it.
How much time advertising and business parts take? It takes up a lot more of my time than I thought it would. Another thing is, like, you know, I'm surprised how smooth it goes sometimes when I'm writing. It's like it just flows out, and then sometimes it's like, okay, that was yesterday. Here's today.
Yeah.
But I find myself eavesdropping a lot.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things as a writer. Anytime we go anywhere, my wife knows now, after being with me for a dozen years, that I'm listening to every other conversation in the room, and trying to figure out people's backstory so I can put them in a book somewhere.
Well, some of my books, a lot of the books, that they have hospital type scenes, ER type scenes in them. And someone asked me, was I a nurse? I said, no, but, you know, my mother was ill before she died. And I said, a lot of that stuff really happens in the ER. You'd be surprised. You'd be up there a while, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Everything could be part of our story, though. I mean, that's the fun of it. My wife is my first reader. Well, it goes out to beta readers, and she'll laugh in the other room, because she's like, I remember this conversation. You know, I remember. I know exactly. I picture that person in my mind because I know exactly who you're talking about, which is always funny. So, you know, we all tend to write series because I think it just lends itself, the thriller lends itself to a series where people want to read the same character over and over. Is there any point where you're thinking you would write a one-off with a brand new character, or do you think your mindset is still on series?
You know, I think right now the two series are going to be kind of time consuming. There's a couple of short stories I want to write. like not really short novellas more than short stories, that are like sub characters might be a good way to put it. That I think were interesting and kind of need their own space.
Right. So, do you have characters in either of the stories that, as you're writing me, is that it's kind of that throwaway character, and you're like, you know what, this character should be, somewhere down the line, this character might get their own book or that, their own novella.
Yeah, that's actually happened. Actually, I borrowed asked Lane Stennett if I could borrow his name for a character in one of the books, and he said sure. So I made him a boat captain. Well, next thing I know, he is bloomed into a more advanced character, more well-rounded character, and he's in several books. So sometimes they stay in the books themselves, and sometimes they'll. I have one that. Um, I plan to put her in the book I'm writing, and it's just not working. So I'm thinking she's going to have her own novella. But it's like I want to put her in this one, but it's just not working.
Right. Which I think is great when you're creating. We're creating people out of thin air, and I think it's so fun when they just kind of run, and you end up with a great character that you didn't realize was going to be so fleshed out on the page. I think that's always a lot of fun. Probably about half of my characters in my books started out as, like, oh, she's the waitress, he's the bartender, he's the boat captain, or whatever, and you just at that point you're like, should I even name them? And then all of a sudden they're the star of the one of the books down the line, which is always nice.
One of the things I found is as I'm writing, they're they have their own little thought in my head, and it surprises me. Like I'll think, oh, they're going to just be a little bit or something, and it's like, I need your attention here.
Yeah, yeah, that's always it's always fun. Like you said, you have those days where you just sit down and it just flows, and you can't stop. So how do you get past those days when it's not flowing, when you have no idea what the next word's going to be?
I go do something else for a few minutes and come back and journal it. It'll come up.
Yeah.
I'll think and I'll say, well, what if, and I'll just go off on a different tangent and say, that might work.
Yeah, that's the. I write on multiple projects, so I just switch to another project. I'm like, all right, I'll write some lines in something else. I'm making lunch, or I'm in the shower, and the idea will hit me, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm also a photographer, so sometimes I can just go distract myself for a little bit and come back.
Right.
And it just redirect my energy for a little bit, then it comes back and it's like, okay, I'm ready to go now.
Yeah.
It's seldom more than a day that something like that would happen. Generally, it's pretty good. But I don't know if you do this or not, but I find I'll always go back and reread what I wrote the day before, just to continue on, and I'll go back and say, well, I can keep making that better, and I want to stay on it forever.
Yeah, I've learned over the years not to edit, but I will go back and read, especially if I end in the middle of a chapter. So one of the things I learned a long time ago was when I know this is the last sentence I'm going to write for the day, I leave the sentence incomplete. I stop it around the middle of the sentence. And that way, when I go back the next day, I have to remember what was the rest of this sentence, or how could I make this sentence better. And it usually, kind of kickstarts me to think of what I'm actually writing. So that's pretty fun. All right, I got a couple more questions for you. First off, what are some of the 2 or 3 thriller authors that inspired you initially to write? Who were the authors that you read growing up?
Oh, John D. MacDonald, of course, and just about any of the tropical authors will do it. But Wayne Stennett, Cap Daniels, Nick Harvey, Doug Pratt, Nick Sullivan, Kurt Jockle. Those all that I really like. And Don Lee McKenna. I'd never read her books before, and a friend of mine said, you write a lot like she did, and I'm like, really? I don't see it. But I went back and started reading hers, and it kind of influenced me to change one thing in my storyline at that time. It's like, oh, that makes sense. It's a little bit clarifying. So,
Mm-hmm.
so but yeah, I read a wide variety of authors, but like I said, Cap Daniels got me started writing, and then but I love his books. I love Wayne Stennett's book. I really really like how it's like you're talking to your buddy.
Right. Yeah. So, who are some of the 2 or 3 thriller authors out there that you think more people should be reading?
Any of the tropical authors, honestly. It's of course mine. Everybody wants you to read their own books,
Right.
but I think that go to the tropical author page and just pick somebody, and then pick another one and read them, because these are some very talented people, and they've all got a story to tell, and I think a lot of them are not as well recognized as they should be.
Yeah, I agree. There's 50 of us in the group now, and everybody's helping each other, and I think it's just a really very positive. Whether you meet them in person or you're meeting them online, everybody's helping out, and the newsletter is great twice a month. Anytime anybody has a new book or has a sale or a new audio book or anything like that, we're always putting it together and sending it out there, which is great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Everybody, I will put the Tropical Authors link on the bottom as well, so everybody can check out. Like you said, everybody can check out all the other authors as well, and obviously check out your stuff too. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it and enjoyed talking to you.